Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. Welcome to Money Monday. We're going to get started in a few minutes. It's about 8:58 right now, so we'll be getting started soon. So come on in. I have an exciting topic. I feel like I say that every single week I have an exciting topic, but I have an exciting topic tonight. We're talking about generational wealth the Rockefeller way. So come on in. We'll get started. Let's give people an opportunity to come on, and then we'll start promptly at 9 o'clock. So we got another 45 seconds or so. Let's give people a chance. Okay. And then we're also going to talk about, in addition to generational wealth, the Rockefeller way, we're going to do a 90-day money sprint recap. So we can kind of play on what we talked about last week in terms of how to set yourself up for a strong start to 2024. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. And then, of course, as people become available, they can hop on, they can catch up, they can take notes, so on and so forth. So we're going to get started. Tonight we're talking about, as I said several times, we're talking about generational wealth the Rockefeller way. Okay. And if you don't know, if you've never heard of the Rockefellers, Rockefellers are a prominent family here in the United States. They've been around for hundreds of years. They got their start in petroleum, but they are also into politics. They're into banking. And basically, if you've ever been around, older adults, they'll say, what do you think, I have money like the Rockefellers? And so the great thing about the Rockefeller family is they used a strategic method to build generational wealth. And they did that through insurance, specifically life insurance. And I'm going to break down what they did in tonight's Money Monday. So there are three important things that you need to know when it comes to this generational wealth building Rockefeller way idea. And specifically around insurance. The first thing is everybody needs life insurance, no matter how old, how young, how rich, how poor, how smart, how not so smart, how healthy, how not so healthy, if you make a lot of money, if you don't, whatever your situation is, you need life insurance. The second thing is you want to focus on getting life insurance outside of your job. Okay. The reason why that's important is because if you job hop or you leave a job, traditionally you don't take that insurance with you, right? And we all know that as you get older, your life insurance gets more expensive. So you want to get it outside of your job so you can get it early and get it cheaper. And then the third thing is to get it young. So you're always going to pay less insurance premiums when you are younger, when you're healthier, when you don't have as much risk or as many health issues. You're always going to pay less on your insurance when you're younger. So you definitely want to get it when you're young. Okay. Now, when we talk about the Rockefeller way of building wealth, it's also called the waterfall method. So if you want to do more research after tonight's Money Monday, you can always Google the Rockefeller insurance or, the waterfall method, whatever. But when done properly, this vehicle for generational wealth takes 3 generations. That's it. If that, right? At least that. So we're talking about parents, kids, and grandparents. That's 3 generations right there. All it takes is 3 generations to start your family on this path to building generational wealth. Okay. Now let's get into how it works. The first thing that you want to do when you are building generational wealth, as if you were a Rockefeller, is you want to start with a revocable trust. Now, it has to be a revocable trust. Now, a revocable trust is a trust where the grantor cannot change or the trust cannot end after a certain time. So with irrevocable trust, something happens, you get divorced, you fall out with somebody, you can close down the trust. With an irrevocable trust, you cannot do that. So you want to make sure that it's an irrevocable trust. That's the first thing. It also means that the terms of your trust are locked. So they can't be changed. They can't be altered. You, however, do give up control of your assets because that all goes under the trust and then grantors manage that. Okay. The good thing about the irrevocable trust is you do not pay estate taxes on any money, any wealth, any interest, any dividends, any stock gains that's generated inside the irrevocable trust. So you want to make sure that it's an irrevocable trust. And then the last thing is, the two last things are, you want to make sure that it's an irrevocable trust because it protects you from creditors. So let's say, for example, your grandparents have an irrevocable trust and they die and they owe $1 billion, right? But they also have $1 billion in assets in the trust. That $1 billion in that trust is not going to be touched by those creditors. And then the last thing is when it comes to the trustees. So anytime you have a trust, you want to make sure that you appoint a trustee. The trustees can change, right? Over time, maybe somebody falls off. Maybe they don't want the responsibility. Maybe they messed up a little bit. Maybe they passed away. But you want to choose trustees that are trustworthy, that are going to do what's in the best interest of the family and kind of, is savvy and knows what's going on, has their head on straight. You know the folks I'm talking about. So you start with an irrevocable trust. The second thing that you want to do, and 2 and 3 is kind of interchangeable depending on how you do it. And I'll explain what I mean after I get to number 3. 2 is you set the rules on what the money is used for, right? So basically you want to focus on not wasting the money on nonsense. You want to make sure that the activities in the trust are income producing. So if somebody wants to take money from the trust and they want to start a business, they have a business plan. They're not just pulling nonsense out the air. You want to name if any of the money goes to charities, if it's for passion projects. All of that should be set in stone when you're developing your trust. Okay. And then the third thing that you do is you get whole or permanent life insurance. Now, ideally, you want it to be permanent or whole life insurance. And the reason why is because that person is insured for their entire life, as long as the premiums are paid. With term life insurance, it's only for a set number of years. So it could be for 10, 15, 20 years. But after that 20 years, it expires, right? Typically. And what happens in 20 years? You're older. So when you go to try to get more life insurance, it's higher. Okay. So you want to make sure that it's whole or permanent life insurance that the person can have for their entire life, no matter if they get sick, no matter if they're disabled, no matter the circumstance, they can always keep this whole or permanent life insurance. Now, with that being said, if all you can afford at the moment is term life insurance, get term, right? Because I would hate for you to wait 5 or 10 years to start this and lose that 5 or 10 years of cash building in that trust and the opportunity to do this wealth building strategy just because you can only afford term life insurance. So get what you can afford. Use term as a last resort. But if that's what you can afford right now, then get term. Okay. So that's number 3. The reason why I said 2 and 3 are interchangeable, because depending on who you get insurance on and put in the trust, you may be paying for it or they may be paying for it. Okay. And I'll explain what I mean in a second. So if you're paying for it, let's say you're starting it for your family, your immediate family. So maybe your kids or your grandkids, then you get to choose what the rules are after you get the life insurance. If you guys are doing it as a family with extended families, maybe your sister or her kids or your brother and his kids, nieces and nephews, or maybe cousins or uncles, whatever it is, you want to set those rules first so that everybody is in agreement. Everybody's on the same page. There's no misunderstandings. There's no drama, right? Okay. So that's 3. Get that whole or permanent life insurance. The 4th thing that you do is you make the trust the beneficiary of that life insurance policy. Okay. Over time, the trust is passed down through generations. So it's funded by the insurance policies, right? So grandma and grandfather got the insurance policy and they had it for however much, and then they pass away. That is then sent to the trust. So now the trust has those funds, and I'm going to give you an example in a second. And then it just keeps going on and on and on. And that's how you build the generational wealth. Now, with this method, you actually avoid the pitfalls of the gift tax. So if your grandmother dies and she has $10 million in cash in her bank account, you're going to pay a gift tax on that. You're going to pay an estate tax. They're going to tax you out the wazoo. If grandma dies and she has a $10 million life insurance policy, you are not going to pay taxes on that. So you really want to make sure that you are doing 2 things: building generational wealth and then shielding that wealth from taxes. Okay, the right way, not the wrong way. when you think about this strategy, this is really a long-term strategy. So this is not something that you may see in your lifetime if everybody remains relatively healthy, but this is something that will help build that generational wealth for your family. And I know we hear generational wealth all the time, especially if you're on social media. You know, this is how you build generational wealth. Woo, 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 woo. But doing it this way is going to help you really build that wealth. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a mom and dad and they each get $1 million life insurance policy. That's $2 million. Okay. They have 3 kids. Each of those kids gets a $1.5 million life insurance policy. So the mom and dad have 2, the kids have 3, 4.5, they have 4.5. Okay. So that's going to equal, my math is wrong, 5. That's going to equal $6.5 million in their trust. Okay. So let's say all of those 3 kids each have 2 kids. So now we're talking about 8 grandkids. No, 2, 4, 6 grandkids. I got a lot of circles on my paper, folks. 6 grandkids. All of those grandkids get $1 million life insurance policy. Your trust in insurance policies is now worth over $12.5 million. Okay. That's why I said that all it takes is 3 generations. So if you have grandkids, you can honestly do this with your grandkids right now, where you are making sure that you have life insurance and you guys have that. The beneficiary as the trust, the family trust. Your kids have life insurance policies and the beneficiary is the family trust. And then your grandkids have life insurance policies and the beneficiary is the trust. Over time, this is going to help you build wealth. Now, the Rockefellers, of course, have had a 100-year head start, but just imagine if we start doing this repetitively. Okay. Here are some tips for you to get this working and get this off the ground and get this successful. You want to work with an attorney, a tax pro, or a professional that can, first things first, set up your trust correctly and then help you buy the insurance that you need and the amounts that you need in your budget, and that can make that beneficiary the trust. You want to start now. As I said earlier, the earlier you start with your life insurance policy, the cheaper it is. When I was in my 20s, I had a life insurance policy similar to the one that I have now. And I want to say it was like $80. Now it's running me about $160 a month. And that's only a 15-year difference. So if you can get the insurance as young as you can, start your kids out young, especially if you have those 18, 19, 20, 25-year-olds, this is the prime time for them to be getting insurance. This method requires you to think long-term, right? So when I say think long-term, I don't mean 3 generations from now. I mean that in addition to your premiums now, right? So if you get a whole or permanent life insurance policy and it's $900 a month, you got to think about, is that sustainable? Okay. Hey, Candy, welcome to Money Monday. And as I said earlier, the Rockefellers had a 100-year start. So that's why they're one of the richest families in United States history. It's because they've been doing this literally for years. Okay. The reality of the situation is we don't know when we're going to die, right? And we don't want our loved ones to pass away. But we can all count for sure that everybody that's living right now is going to die. Okay. So go ahead. If you're interested in building generational wealth, start that now. Okay. Now, let's talk about our 90-day money sprint. If you guys missed the live from last week, go back and watch it. I talked about how to set up your 2024 for a strong financial year now. Start now. Some of the things that you could be doing right now is reviewing your money goals from this year and seeing where you landed with those, how far you have to go, were you successful, were you not. You can also be doing a money challenge right now. So maybe you're not eating out fast food. Maybe you're saving your $5 bills. Maybe you're doing an envelope challenge, so on and so forth. I mentioned a lot of those in a previous video. And then also start thinking about Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I know we're only in the second week of November, but Thanksgiving is literally in 2 weeks. So start prepping now. Start thinking about the things that you need to buy. Start forecasting for if you buy gifts, what gifts you need to buy, what's going to be on sale, where you can get that from, so on and so forth. Okay. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys found value in this video. I think this is so instrumental, especially in the Black community and in the lower income communities, because we do not use, first of all, we don't buy insurance. That's the number one. So we don't even have insurance a lot of times to bury our folks. We're in survival mode. The second thing is we're not using this easy way to build wealth as a generational tool. And then something that I just remembered that I forgot is most times with whole and permanent life insurances, they have a cash value. So the longer you have them, the more cash you build up, and you can take loans from that. You can get disbursements from that, where maybe you've had it for 10 or 15 years. And now you can take out, $5,000 or whatever. If you're in a hard place or a rough place, or maybe you're just trying to make ends meet, you can take that cash value out to help bridge that gap or pay your premiums. So there are numerous benefits to having a whole or permanent life insurance policy. And this is just one of them. So really consider and think about doing this for your generational wealth journey. It's going to take some legwork. It's going to take some setting up. But just think about, 50 years from now, when we're probably all, well, probably not all, but we don't know what's going to happen if we're gone. Our families can say, yeah, my aunt, yeah, I had my rich grandma. She thought about us. She considered us. So now all my kids go to school for free. Okay. I love you guys. Have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this Money Monday. I will see you next Monday. Have a good one. Bye.